It's the Daily Dog.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Daily Doug. I am thankful that you are hanging out with me today. I am really excited about today's episode because we are going back to the band Queen, and the song we are doing today is called "The Show Must Go On." We have done several pieces by Queen on the channel in the past. I made a list so I wouldn't forget. We've done "In the Lap of the Gods," we've done "My Fairy King," we've done "March of the Black Queen," and we've done the Prophet song. But all of those are from the early part of Queen's career, and I wanted to pick this one today because it goes to the latter part of Queen's career, especially with Freddie Mercury before he passed, right? So I am a child of the 80s. I was born in the late 70s, and when I was going to school in the 80s, I was in elementary school and getting into middle school. And as I wanted to be one of the cool kids as I got older, one of the things I remember doing was going to the high school to watch what the kids were doing, to be a part of it. And I remember specifically going to basketball games, and you'd see these high school kids over there get their big boom boxes out, and they put their tape in, and they put it through the PA, and you'd hear boom, 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 right? And I'm like, oh, what is this? You know, so you start hearing "We Are the Champions" and "We Will Rock You" and these epic anthems. And I learned it and heard it first going to high school sporting events. But I was curious as to what this band was. And then I heard more of their stuff with the Highlander soundtrack. And then as I was getting into high school, just about to get into high school, this song came out, "The Show Must Go On." And then when it came out, Freddie died just a few weeks later. And it was really my first real slap over the head with the impact and the intensity of the problem of HIV and AIDS. And I was just blown away by how strong his voice was, considering how sick he was at the time. So this has been a favorite of mine for a long time. I haven't heard it for several years, but I'm happy to bring it back and share it with you today. A little bit more about this. So "The Show Must Go On" was the 12th and final track on Queen's 1991 album called Innuendo. The majority of the writing credit for this goes to Brian May, as he was chronicling the ongoing will to perform that Freddie Mercury was exhibiting, even while he was quite ill. It was recorded in 1990 as Freddie's physical condition was quite poor due to having HIV and AIDS. At the time, Freddie's diagnosis had not been made public, although there was quite a bit of speculation as to the state of his health. Brian was quite wary of Freddie being able to physically sing the song as they were getting ready to do it. But of course, Freddie came in and just knocked the thing right out of the park, as he normally does. The song was released in October of 1991, just 6 weeks before he passed away. And because of Freddie's deteriorating health, they didn't shoot any new footage for the promo video that was made for this song. What they ended up doing was using a montage of excerpts of videos that they had made over the previous decade. And it stands the test of time as just a monument to the latter part of Freddie's career with Queen and the band's ongoing legacy and musical greatness. So let's wait no longer, y'all. We're going to get into it. This is "The Show Must Go On" by Queen. Here we go. Always the showman. Awesome. It's a relatively simple progression, y'all. Off-use progression. They're in B minor.
Empty spaces.
Starts on the 1 chord.
What are we living for?
Goes down a third
Abandoned places.
to G.
I guess we know
Goes down another third, E minor.
On and on. Does
5 chord on F sharp.
what we are looking
Back down to 4.
Another hero. smile behind the curtain in the pantomime.
This motive over the top of the
Does anybody
verse we'll get back to.
want to take it anymore? Show must go on.
You know, and he's singing that high B.
Show must go on. Yeah. Inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on.
Yeah, then they go right up a step,
I leave it all.
right to C sharp minor. And it's the same progression, down a third to A,
Another failed romance.
F sharp minor, D sharp is the 5 chord,
What we are living for. I guess I'm learning. I must be warmer now. I'll soon be turning round the corner now. Outside the dawn is breaking.
so this verse is a step higher than where they started. They go down to E, which is 4 to B minor, back where they came from.
Inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on.
Thou shalt not play over a Brian May solo. And a really interesting little bridge.
My
Yeah.
soul is painted like the wings of butterflies. Fairy
Yeah.
tales of yesterday will grow
minor,
but never
A
die.
minor,
I can fly.
C sharp. Ah, forgot. Back to B minor. Just listen to it. I mean, and all those chorus of rote voices behind.
I'm never giving in. On with the show.
Awesome. It's a high D, y'all. This is a guy whose body is being ravaged from the inside, and he's just
Top the bill, I'll overkill. I have to find the will to carry
find the will to carry on with the show. But this was one of like my seminal songs for Queen. It just happens to be late in Freddie's career, very late in Freddie's career. So I had never gone back and heard the original stuff, and I, of course, all of their output is quite marvelous. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the little motive that they use during the verses. They're going down by thirds. So if we're in B minor, right, that B in that chord is the root of that B minor chord. When you go down to the G chord, a third below it, you've got two of those notes from the B minor chord still in it, the B and the D, right? Now you do the F sharp, just goes up by a half step. You still have the B and the D. Now that you have the G and the B and the D in that chord, you've got the G and the B that stays, and the D is the one that moves when you go to the E minor chord, right? So in each of those progressions, when you move down by a third, you get to keep two notes of the previous chord intact and only one member moves. And so that's why you're able to have these pedal orchestrations where it just, things stay. Whoop, sorry. And then you get this suspended 5 chord back to 4, then this moving note down to B minor. But the other thing that they do that's really interesting is over each of these chords, they do this little 3, 2, 4, 3 motive. It's a D to a C sharp to an E to a D. They do the exact same thing over the G chord. Works over all three of them. It's a really interesting way to add some inner movement and sort of expanding on those chords while they're in play before they move to the next one. It adds up to being just an absolutely powerful song. The line that makes my heart just break when I hear this is in the chorus. The show must go on. Inside my heart is breaking, but inside my heart is breaking. My makeup may be flaking, but my smile still stays on. He's so committed to being a person who puts on a show, an entertainer. It was just part of his DNA, and even as his body was being ravaged, it's all that gave him strength, continuing to do that. An absolutely amazing band, an amazing performer. In my mind, what am I going to say here? In terms of lead front people for bands, does it get any better than Freddie? Really? Does it get any better than Freddie as somebody that can have that many people in their hands? There's a handful of folks for these big bands that have the same skills. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it as well as Freddie. That would be a fun conversation to have with all of you. But it's not to put anybody else down. It's just a recognition of the immense talent and legacy of Freddie Mercury and the band Queen. So it has been my honor to include The Show Must Go On the channel this week. And indeed, the show must go on, y'all. We got to keep going. Then we should take some inspiration from the guys in the band and the things that we're passionate about, the things that need to be done. Keep faith alive, keep hope alive, and keep pushing forward as long and as hard as you can, right? You owe it to yourself, you owe it to your friends and your family and those around you. We all need to keep putting our best foot forward and trying to be the best versions of ourselves, not only for us, for our own fulfillment, but for the betterment of all those around us. And that is true for teachers, for firefighters, for truck drivers, for entertainers and singers, anybody, right? We all are made better when we're all doing the thing that we were supposed to do in our lives at the highest level that we can. And when I think of Queen, this is one of the songs that still sticks in my mind as part of their enduring legacy. So I hope that you enjoyed this little trip into The Show Must Go On. I certainly did. And I thank you for being with me. We will see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.